Hey everyone, it's Mojaxx back in the DJ City UK lab. Today I'm reviewing the Rane MP2014, their new powerhouse rotary mixer. Now, due to scheduling conflicts and stuff last year, I didn't get to review the 2015, the big brother of this, which has got 4 channels and a sub mix as well, so it's effectively a 5-channel mixer, quite a lot bigger in terms of physical size. This is the cut down, smaller brother of that mixer, but it doesn't really lose anything in terms of the features. You've just got less channels. So we've got 2 channels on here, plus a session input as well. It's not as fully featured as the submix on the 2015. So this is slightly more compact, only 2 channels to work with. Is that enough for you? That might be a question you want to answer as we go through. Price-wise, it is a lot lower than the 2015. 2015 street price right now is about $2,900. This is roughly $2,000. So we're talking quite a big saving compared to the 2015, and that might put this into the budget of a lot more DJs. It's still an expensive mixer, don't get me wrong, it's handmade in the US, you are paying for that build quality, and the build quality is fantastic. It's really well put together. The actual construction all round is solid. You've got lovely metal pots everywhere, all nicely bolted to the faceplate, and the rotaries themselves have got really nice resistance. They are not like stock Alps faders or anything like that. They are actually custom made for Rane, with like 1 million life cycles, all that kind of nonsense, but they should last a long time, and they feel really nice to use. Just enough bite, just enough resistance. They're not incredibly tight like the blue velvets from Alps kind of start off really tight. These have got a really nice feel straight out the box. Same applies for the Isolator as well. So that's really good. The construction I cannot fault with this mixer. It's so well put together. In terms of features, you have got 2 main channels with the rotary fader on each. Going up from there, we've got a filter. Now this is a high pass or low pass combo in the middle mode. You've got a low pass on the bottom, and you've got a high pass on the top. Now you've got adjustable resonance for that between low and high. That applies to both filters at once. So on the lowest resonance, it's nice and smooth. If you really whack it up high, there's a big difference, and it is a variable control, so you can go any point that you like. I generally found when playing on this mixer, I turn the resonance right down and just use the filter just to kind of gradually filter out the sound in that, as it should be, rather than using it as an effect. I was just using it to just take a little bit off the bass and work my way up. And a lot of the time, almost I was just mixing with the filters, high pass filter on both, and I'm just kind of mixing the frequencies across between the two, and I was hardly touching the rotaries themselves. And that's the thing with this mixer. There are so many ways to tweak and adjust the sound and really work your blends super hard, and that's what's really fun about it. It takes the regular kind of rotary thing and gives you a load of extra options as well. We have got an effects loop on here, whereas the MP2015 did not have an effects loop. That had the submix, and you could send tracks to the submix and then out to an effects from there. With this, you've just got a regular kind of flex effects that Rane have on their scratch mixers, that kind of thing. Engage it, and it's pretty much inaudible when you actually engage the effects. I'm going out to the RMX 1000 here, and it's post fader, so you can bring down your volume and your effects will still tail out. Now moving across to the left, we've got the session output, which is you can feed into another mixer if you're chaining mixers or something like that, or you just need an extra output for an extra set of monitors, whatever it's going to be, or record output, for example, as well. If you want to record to an external recorder, you can use that. We've got the mic input, which has got a combo jack on it, which I always really like, XLR and jack combo socket. Then we've got the session input. Now this is switchable 3 ways. You've got the digital input on the back, which you can also switch over to an analog input, and you've got then USB aux as well, so you can send an extra channel from your computer through to the session input. You can cue the session input, and you've got a filter on there as well. Again, that high pass, the combo or low pass, and that frequency resonance is adjustable with the main resonance control in the middle. So it's almost a fully featured channel in some ways. You could certainly use it for mixing, because you can cue it as well. So the option is there to kind of use it as a 3rd channel. You just don't have the EQ on it. Staying on the left, we've got the actual headphone outputs. We've got a large jack on the top, small jack and large jack on the front. Always nice to see a front mounted headphone socket as well. In terms of the queuing facility, you've got the level control, a cue, mix blend knob, and you can do split cue with it as well. So basically everything is covered there. And as always with Rane, that's a kind of pre-master PFL level for the mix. So even if you're running at a lower output volume, you can still get a nice blend in your headphones when you're doing the mixing. Fully covered there, no complaints whatsoever. In terms of outputs, we've got the booth output is on balanced jacks. You've got the master output on XLRs. And if you do need that phono RCA output, you've got it on the session as well. The VU meters are really big and really bright, and I really appreciate that. In a club environment, they were super visible. Now, if you're spending $2,000 on a rotary mixer, there's a very good chance that sound quality is going to be very important to you. And that's where the MP2014 and the 2015 as well are kind of different from the pack. You know, most of the rotaries out there are analog through and through. This is a fully digital mixer. So it's all 32-bit floating point processing inside, but it is digital, that's it. Now, in terms of the actual inputs, that is one area I'm slightly disappointed by this, in that you don't have the digital inputs. So for example, I use CDJ2000 Nexuses, they've got a digital output. As it stands though, I have to run an analog output from there. So we're going from digital to analog, then into the mixer. So analog to digital, and then digital to analog again to go out. But obviously that is a price saving thing. You know, this thing is nearly $1,000 cheaper than the 2015. They had to cut some corners somewhere, and that was one area where they've cut it. They've just taken the digital inputs off. You have got a digital input, of course, on the session input, but for the main channels, it's not there. So that's one area they've cut down. But the sound quality itself is phenomenal, basically. I mean, that's the thing. I use this on various club systems and here in the lab, and it just sounds, I'm not going to say fat because it doesn't sound fat. It sounds actually incredibly transparent, almost to a fault. You know, I use this in venues where generally they've got pioneered like DJM 900 Nexus mixers, and this thing did not sound very warm at all. It just sounds totally flat, totally transparent. And I actually found myself using the Isolator, just using it as a master EQ and leaving the bass like slightly higher than 0. Because actually without it, it sounded really flat. Now, that's not saying that's a bad thing. You know, don't get me wrong. It's not a bad thing to have a completely transparent sounding mixer. It's like having, when you play with studio monitors for the first time and you've only ever used regular hi-fi speakers, use a set of studio monitors and actually they sound really flat and really kind of dull. But that's because they're totally transparent. They're not accentuating the bass or anything like that. And that's what you're getting with this. Now we're going to get to the Isolator because that's one of the highlights of this mixer. Unlike the 2015, when it first launched, you couldn't actually cue the Isolator in the headphones. But now when you're listening to the master, I can hear what's going on with the Isolator perfectly happily. You've got 3 obviously large actual frequency knobs. So you've got high, mid and low. When they're off, they're completely off. You've got 10 dB boost on each one as well, which is nice, healthy, loud amount of boost. And the cool thing as well is you've got the adjustable crossover points. This is fully digital, again, all completely clean. It's a great sign that you can actually, if you set everything to 12 o'clock, you can punch the Isolator in or out and you cannot hear the difference at all. There is no noticeable change in the sound. There's no click, there's no pop. You can punch it in and out all night and you will never hear it. So that's really good. It means you can, you know, set the Isolator to certain points and like punch it in and out really cleanly. Again, that word clean just keeps coming up with this mixer. You've got adjustable, with those adjustable crossover points, you can set from very, very low. So if we're cutting off at 80 Hertz down here on the low, that's really taking out very little of the actual bass, just the real sub bass. And you can, as you move it up, gives you that kind of filter as it's filtering up through the frequency up to 640 Hertz. And that's taking out loads at the bottom end. And the same applies up on the top as well. We can take off hardly any treble up there, bring it down and take off loads. So you can really adjust that on the fly. You can use it as a kind of filter effect as well, but you can do it on the fly and choose your own exact preference as to what frequencies you want to cut off. And once you do, you're in that real performance mode. Now I've got to talk about the audio interfaces on here. Now we've got 2 because that's Rane's trademark now, and they're very high quality. You've got USB 1A and 1B and then 2A and 2B, so you can switch seamlessly between DJs on 2 different laptops hooked up at the same time, all nice and slick. Plus you've got the auxiliary input on USB as well, so you can run that in on your session input too. But at the time of making this video, at the start of March 2016, there is no Serato DJ compatibility and there is no Traktor Scratch certification. So the two big platforms in terms of DVS are not compatible with this. Now obviously if you're using regular Traktor with controllers or whatever, like I'm doing here, then it's going to work just fine because you don't need any kind of certification for that. I'm just running straight out of my laptop into the 2014 and it sounds lovely. You know, there's very little difference between the audio interface sound and the analog inputs. Very similar in terms of quality and overall sound, but yeah, that compatibility just isn't there right now. So if you must have a 2014 or a 2015 at this particular point in time, the 2015 offers you a lot more in terms of software compatibility, a huge amount more. What was funny was that we posted a picture of the 2014 on the DJ City Instagram and there were quite a lot of DJs chimed in saying, oh, where's the crossfader? You know, you can't mix with that. And I was slightly confused by that attitude because, you know, there are countless DJs around the world who don't ever use a crossfader. It's all about that gradual smooth blend with the upfaders or the rotaries in this case. And using a rotary mixer for that is an absolutely wonderful thing. You can get such a gradual, smooth blend of the music and you've got all these tools on here to blend as well. It's fantastic. And I think on a rotary mixer, as a rule, a crossfader is kind of pointless. It's kind of redundant. However, I kind of feel like the 2014 could do with a crossfader. I know that's, you know, compared to what I just said, that sounds kind of weird, but the thing is with that, the 2015, that's your big 4-channel, all, you know, all singing, all dancing rotary mixer. That's the one for your heads, right? Not many DJs out there can afford two high-end mixers. So, you know, we're talking $2,000. You can't afford, you know, one of these and a Rane 62 is going to cost you $4,000. That's an incredible amount of money. And I just think this is the 2-channel one. And it's not that deep front to back. You know, it's a little bit shorter than a DJM 900 Nexus. So I think if you just kind of shifted everything up a little bit, have a little crossfader section on the front and have that crossfader, you've only got 2 channels to worry about. So just have it like the Isolator, you can turn it on or turn it off. And I just think that would open up this mixer to so many more DJs. I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think about that. So there we go, a look at the Rane MP2014 rotary mixer. You know, overall, this is an absolute beauty of a mixer. It really is, you know, so well made, so well put together. Sound quality is so clean and transparent, like nothing else I've heard lately. Really, really is great. The features that are on here are all implemented really well. I love the filters. They're amongst the best I've ever used. The actual EQs are lush. Once I'd set the preferences to what I wanted, they sound amazing. The effects loop works great. The Isolator is just wonderful, you know, so nice, so musical to use. The adjustable crossover points all work really nicely. In terms of what's on here, I've got nothing to fault it about. I do think this 2-channel one should have a crossfader. I know that'll be controversial, but I think this one should, because it'll just mean so many more DJs could buy this and get the best of all worlds. You know, you've got your crossfader for cutting, and you've got the rotaries for blending, and you've got the beautiful Isolator. It'll be all there. Also, the lack of DVS compatibility at the moment is an issue, will be an issue for a lot of people. If you're just using CDJs or regular vinyl, then that'll be fine, of course. But yeah, it's a big miss compared to the 2015, which has both Traktor and Serato certification. So if you're looking to buy one right now, bear that in mind. You know, the 2015 might be that extra, might be worth it for you at this stage. But when this has either or both of those software platforms fully supported, the value proposition goes up even higher. Yes, it's expensive. It's $2,000. This is one of the more expensive mixers on the market, but you can feel where the money's gone. When you use it, you can hear and you can feel where that money has been spent. And it's definitely worth it. If this has all the features that are suitable for you, you'll love this mixer. It is an absolute joy to work with. You can blend like nothing else. So nice. But bear in mind those reservations, the audio interface stuff, the DVS stuff. And yeah, I think it should have a crossfader. Sorry, I do. There you go. Thank you for watching today. Make sure you subscribe for all our future tips, tricks, and product reviews. I'll see you soon.